How's it going, everyone? Thanks for stopping by the channel. It's Moodog from Moodog's Frugal RCs and more. Today we are in the research kitchen. I want to show you guys some upgrades that I've done to my Xinlehong 9115, or in this case, the Gptoys S911 Fox truck, two-wheel drive vehicle here, 1/12 scale. You can see some similarities to another vehicle that I have just beside it, and I'll roll this table around a little bit so you guys can take a look at that as well and some comparison. Now, I did a couple of videos on this vehicle a few weeks back where at the Urban Bash and review video, I had some negative vibes come from this at the very end. I ended up breaking a couple plastic pieces on this where I didn't think they probably should have broken as easily. I did reach out to the seller, and they replaced the parts free of charge. So I like the fact that these products are being stood behind by the people that are selling them. I did not reach out directly to Gptoys, but I did reach out to one of their prime sellers, and was able to get some replacement parts free of cost. I wasn't looking for freebies. I just wanted to kind of let them know that their product did fail a test that I had performed on it, where I didn't think it probably should have failed at that point. But here we are. So what did I do to this vehicle to make it better? It's quite obvious. We got new shocks on here and new tires. Kind of the same setup I have on my 9125 by Xinlehong, and I'll show you a side-by-side in just a second. But what I'm trying to achieve here, guys, is more stability. I'm trying to also achieve better traction, better cornering, and that type of performance. Obviously, this is a two-wheel drive vehicle, so I was looking for something a little heavier for the tires. Now, I had tried using the original tires from the Xinlehong 9125. They just were too skiddy. They skid all over the place. You're doing donuts forever. I got these tires on Amazon, and I'll post a link in the description for them. They're essentially the same tires as I have on the 9125, a little bit different rim design. I think these tires are more designed for probably a crawler or a climbing car, something of that sort. But you can use them on pretty much any vehicle, I would venture to guess. Nice soft compound on these tires, guys. Thinner, smaller than the original tires. I don't mind the look. Some people get kind of offended by the skinnier tire look on these and say, oh, they look weird or this or that other thing. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think these look good, and I think they perform quite a bit better. Now, I haven't had this out to test it just yet. I do plan on doing a run video coming up, and I'll do a review on the upgrade. And I'll also do a better review and kind of update the review that I did on the truck itself. We're dealing with some snow right now and frigid temperatures, so I want to forego that until the weather warms up just a little bit and some of the snow goes away, so I can test the traction of this upgrade. So what we have here, guys, is a lot of the same as what the Xinlehong 9125 on the left is, and you can see the tires are pretty much the same tread pattern. The 9125 seemed just a little bit flatter profile, maybe a little bit wider. It could be an optical because they are dirty, but it does look like they're just a little bit different than the ones that are on the 9115 or the Gptoys S911 right here. So shocks are pretty much a horse apiece. Now, the shocks that I've got on this vehicle here are a little on the stiff side. The springs are a little stiff. So what I ended up having to do, guys, is I ended up having to cut a couple of coils off the shock itself to kind of get it to sit down a little bit farther. I have to test and see if it's going to affect the overall ride characteristics of the vehicle. I'm hoping it doesn't. I have another theory in mind, another kind of fix in mind if this doesn't improve the stability of this vehicle. I have some hub extensions here. Basically, these are hex extensions. These are 20 millimeter hexes, and essentially what these are, guys, is they will extend that 12 millimeter hex from the center of the hub where it fits over the pin. This would actually go in place of the hex that's in there now. These will fit over the pin that's on the axle. This will extend out, and then there's a nut that goes, your tire would go over this, and then there's a nut that goes through this and attaches. So what this essentially will do is it'll extend these tires out another 20 millimeters and maybe help the stability a little bit more. And I know some of you out there right now are saying, well, why don't you just use the wider tires and forego this whole business? Well, to me, the narrower tires tend to grip better. They tend to have a little bit better bite. The wider tires are kind of more floaty and kind of more skatey, especially on pavement, especially on like loose hard pack. If that made sense, but kind of dusty hard pack is what I was trying to say, and then snow as well. So I think with this more aggressive tread pattern, the softer compound, these are going to hook up really nice, as they did on the 9125. So that's kind of my theory going forward right now, guys. And I'll pull this body off here real quick just to show you how I got these shocks connected on here. Pretty simple to do. I just had to borrow some hardware off the original shocks and kind of transplant it on the new ones, and it was pretty easy install on this one, guys. So we can see on here that it's a pretty straightforward, nothing really left to imagination. These eyelets fit inside. There's a slot here on the bottom of this lower A arm that it fits through, and then a screw goes through the eyelet. There's a little insert inside the eyelet there that I borrowed from the original shock. The top part here actually is pretty much standard. I did end up using a part from another shock that I had in stock. I pulled the little ball ends out of there, and I used those in place of the originals that were in here, and everything seems to fit together well. The shocks seem to actuate nicely, decent rebound, not too springy. It is a little on the tight side, like I mentioned before, but I'm going to play around with that. I'm using straight 40 weight shock oil in there, the same oil I used in the other one. In this installation here, and that would be the Team Losi Racing 40 weight oil. So that's pretty much it. And I've also gone ahead, guys, I don't know if you've seen this before, but I'm going to recommend, if you guys are bashing your vehicles to any extent, that you take some Gorilla Tape. You can get this stuff at any hardware store. Walmart has it. It's about $8 for a roll. You get a pretty good amount on there. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've taped the whole inside of this body here. And what that does is it causes a more resiliency to it, and it actually kind of tempers it, if you want to call it, and causes it not to be quite so brittle. It's a bit more forgiving, and you're not going to run the risk of cracking the body should you get in any kind of impact, as opposed to not having this taped. I do this to all my bash vehicles, and it seems to really help and prolong the life of the Lexan bodies. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. I'm trying to educate you guys on how you can improve your entry-level vehicles and really get better performance out of something that's not costing a whole lot of money. I believe in getting the most value for the money, and I also believe in having fun with the hobby. But again, not spending every last penny you have in your pocket to do it. You don't need to do that. That's pretty much it. We'll see y'all guys all in the next one. God bless the Republic.